intensity. Now, intensity is calculated through the target heart rate. And your target heart rate is the rate at which your heart beats that you burn a max amount of fat. Once you go above that zone, you cross into what's called your anaerobic threshold, and you start burning carbs. If you go below that zone, you're not burning carbs, you're not burning fats, you're pretty much wasting your time. So we want to find that specific zone, individual for every single person. And it depends on a whole bunch of factors, including your age, your weight, and it's, again, going to be individual. We calculate that zone through what's called the Karpman formula. Now, the Karpman formula, even after all that hard work, can still be 20 to 30 beats off of your actual target heart rate. So we want to supplement that formula with what's called the ratings of perceived exertions, in which I will actually stand and I'll watch the person, and I'll be able to tell if they are or they are not at their target heart rate. Next, it's body specific, designed very specific for every single person. It's going to be individually customized for every single person, which is very, very important. Again, we don't do anything repetitive for every single client, which is why it makes personal trainers so unique and so, sought after. So again, this is an example of a cardio machine. It's an elliptical or side step or whatever you want to call it. Next, we have nutritional guidance. So nutritional guidance, again, very, very important factor. Almost 50% of how good a person does in the gym, especially with weight loss or weight gain, is dependent on nutrition. So, with nutritional guidance, what we concentrate on, first of all, is meal frequency. We pace out all of our meals, should be broken down 2 to 3 hours apart. We should eat anywhere from 5 to 6 times a day. If we go over or under that amount, we're going to end up storing food as fat. If we don't eat 5 to 6 times in a day, our body will enter starvation modes between every single meal. And when that happens, our body will store every single meal as fat. So that's very unbeneficial for our goals of weight loss or even, decreasing the body fat percentage. So we want to make sure we have a proper meal frequency. Every one of the meals should be planned out throughout the day. Also, what's very important is that we make sure that we get, a proper calorie intake, and also that we actually know what macronutrients to eat throughout the day. So we have protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Those are our 3 essential macronutrients. So to start off, fats will slow the absorption rate of all your food. So we want to have a little bit of fat in every single meal. We never want to have too much, never too little. Now, if we have, let's say, for breakfast fat, it's going to be very unbeneficial for our goals. So there are certain times of the day that we cannot eat fats. So for breakfast and right after workout, our body demands carbohydrates and proteins as fast as possible. If we're going to have fats in one of those 2 meals, we're going to be slowing down how fast those meals will be absorbed, how fast our body will intake the carbohydrates and the proteins. So we don't want to do that. We actually want to eliminate fats in breakfast and right after workout. However, contrary to regular belief, every other meal in the day, we should have a slight fat source. Of course, a good fat source. For example, natural peanut butter versus the Jif or whatever the regular peanut butter might be. Also, what we have going on is calorie intake. Now, most people would believe that a trainer is just going to be, all right, this is how many calories you're going to have throughout the day. What does that mean? Nobody knows what it means. We customize, this is how many grams of protein you're going to have, this is how many grams of carbs you're going to have, this is how many grams of fats you're going to have, this is what time of day you're going to eat them to maximize the muscle gain and maximize the fat loss. Carbs are also very important. Now, carbs are your body's energy storage. So when do generally we as Americans stop using so much energy? Usually after 4 o'clock, an American's day will actually start to slow down. So what we want to do is after 4 o'clock, no more carbs. It's very tough, and a lot of clients have trouble with that, but we definitely want to slow down the carb consumption after 4 o'clock. On top of that, the best time to have carbs where you're almost guaranteed not to store them as fat is for breakfast, right after workout, and right before workout. Any other meal, there is a chance that you will store that meal as fat. Next is protein. Now, protein, most people know it to be the building block to muscle, which is very true. But also protein has a factor called thermic effective foods. And that states that 30% of whatever you just ate will immediately be burnt off if we just have a protein source in that meal. So we want to have a lot of protein in every single meal of the day to maximize our metabolism. Because again, protein has enzymes in it that are so hard for your body to break down that your body will burn your own body fat to break down that protein source, which is going to be very beneficial for our goals of weight loss, increasing the metabolism, whatever it might be. We definitely want to have a protein source in every single meal. Lastly is a resistance training program, which is obviously our specialty, and this is what most people think that this is all we do. Now, resistance training is usually defined by grabbing a weight, picking up, whatever it might be. It's much more than just grabbing a weight. It's about designing a program. For example, people might not know the simplest things, like you should work the largest muscle groups down to the smallest muscle groups. A lot of people will start off with triceps and work their way into chest, which is a much larger muscle group. So, what we do is, first of all, we increase the metabolism in a resistance training program. And the way that works is that 1 pound of fat will only burn 3 calories a day, while 1 pound of muscle will burn about 50 calories a day. So that's a huge difference. So to put on 10 pounds of muscle on every single person, that would be an extra pound of fat that you'd be burning every single week just from sitting in a chair. So that's very beneficial for anybody's goals. Everybody wants to increase their metabolism to the point where they could burn an extra pound of fat every single day just from sitting in a chair. Why not? Now, next is safe and effective training methods. We provide safe and effective training methods. We make sure we teach people the proper thing to do so they don't get an injury and they don't, end up making things worse than when they started. We'll fix the postural deviations, again, by stretching out those tight muscle structures and strengthening those weak muscle structures. We're going to use the resistance training to strengthen those weak muscle structures. Next, we're going to give people fast results. We give people fast results faster than they've ever seen before, definitely faster than what they could do on their own. Decrease body fat. We highly help people decrease their body fat percentage. Very, very important. Body fat percentage is very important. A lot of your look is based on body fat percentage. If you have a low body fat percentage, usually you'll look much better than if you have a higher one. Increase metabolism. Again, we'll increase metabolism. And lastly, totally new body. We'll make sure that we design a totally new body for this person. X amount of time, they'll look totally different and, completely renewed and rejuvenated and stuff like that. And this is a picture of a guy lifting a heavy weight.